sensors in our kitchens, and I'll get to that here in just a little bit and talk more about our placement of our vacancy switch sensors. And then moving on to our seat lighting and receptacle design. Calculating square foot areas and wattage per square foot. It's 3 watts per square foot. That's will come more important when I talk about residential load calculations. And then determining the number of fixture and types. That's coming from your design basis. Like you wanted two overhead lights in the kitchen, a shower fan light in the shower, of course, a vanity in the bathroom, and a wall-mounted light in your closet there. So that's coming from your design basis. Residential, as far as the residential load calculations go, we added in. If you see our calculations there, you'll see that we added in. You have plenty of safety factor in there. Rather than counting all of our. I'm sorry, what was that?
You want to talk about that safety factor?
Yes, sir. Now it may be too much, but well, I just talk about our safety factor. How we figured all of our receptacles, rather than 180 volt amps, we moved them up to 200 amps. Now, of course, that's makes it easier when you're counting up and sizing your feeders. You just know you run up 200. It's much easier to multiply by 200 than it is by 180. And that just gives you some cushion there as well. If you're going to.
Well, I think what we're most interested about is that the service load calculations were actually done pretty well. It's how did you size the National Electric Code conductor sizing to that ampacity. So you came up with your loads of about 75 to 80 amps, and then the feeder that you selected is good for 300
Yeah, that was
amps.
that was a mistake.
Okay.
It was. We saw it last night in the specs. I'm pretty sure we priced a 2-aught copper wire and it called for a 4, and that was a mistake. And you know, y'all are willing to throw that out and take the price away and cut it, that would be great. But I mean, that's something you'll have to. That's just a mistake we made in the estimate. Not checking the accurate assembly.
And then it's something we can talk about afterwards. But absolutely, it was like $6 million versus
Yeah.
$600,000. So.
Yeah. So smaller than that issue, but I'm just curious to see why you guys chose to use the optional method for calculating your residential feeder sizes. I mean, it's done really well, but I'm just curious why you decided to use that as opposed to the standard method.
Just experience. That's the way I do it as an electrical engineer. It's just the way I've always figured them.
And is there any stipulations on when you can and cannot use the optional method?
Well, yeah, I have to make sure, check against code, and get back to you. Off the top of my head, I cannot list anything for you.
Okay. Well, I think you guys did a great job here and doing the optional method. It's done well.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And then continuing on with the safety factors, you'll see after we figured up all of our loads there and added them up, we then multiplied by 125%. That's just a safety factor, giving you even more room there in the unit panel. And then we sized all of our unit panels at 100 amps. Now sometimes that gives you sometimes over 20 amps worth of oversize. Now, if for the sake of cost you want to downsize, that's something that we can come back and do. We do not have a unit price in there for you yet, but that's something that we can figure an active bid, get back to you.
I think we should start with the feeders and then work our way back from there.
Yeah.
Are you actually in the units, the panels in the units, are they actually 42 circuit panels?
Those we circuits that we had in there, but the way I think it was something to do with the AccuBid. But I think the assembly we picked had the 100 amp panel in it, and I don't know, Bentley, get to, it was the 100 amp panel price of the residential load center. I guess you said it had 42 breakers on it.
It has capacity for 42, based
Oh,
on
the
your
panel
panel schedule.
schedules?
And our
Panel
overall constraint is just a pretty big dimension. for a panel inside a unit.
That's just a default, that's just a run-of-the-mill panel schedule that we had.
Okay. So how many circuits are you providing for your panel?
We had around, I think it was 12 to 13 circuits, depending on the unit, plus 3 spares.
spares? Okay.
So we're talking on Mesa. Can you walk through a little bit of how you selected your fixtures?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because we're trying to look for a modern look, and we just want to
Yeah.
come up with a Home Depot special way. Just if you could walk us through that selection process.
Well, he was just going shop. Pretty much. For the sake of cost, I mean, we didn't give you top of the line, you know, over.
Oh, we weren't looking for top of the line.
Over the
just
top,
something modern and.
We thought the brushed nickel was a nice touch, though.
Yeah.
No, that's what brought us together.
And they're all consistent with the brushed nickel.
I did notice that. I appreciate it. But if we did want to change the selection to be a little bit more modern than what you've selected, we do that, and is there a cost impact to do that?
It depends on the fixture you pick, but it's a pretty mid-grade that we have, so it depends on the fixture, but it would increase if it went to a higher end fixture.
Okay. So you could offer me some solutions that would be the same price range and go from there.
Absolutely.
And then what about the under cabinet fixture? How'd you select that one?
Well, the under cabinet fixture I chose in your closet. You wanted light there. I believe it was spec. It was either spec or it was a design basis. Asked for either a round fluorescent light or an under cabinet light. I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. So that's what I just chose.
Okay.
Went through, found a low wattage fluorescent lamp, and when we get into talking about our value engineering, that's one thing I wanted to bring up was rather than using a fluorescent lamp, maybe moving to LEDs for lower wattage, lower cost, longer life as well. So that's.
So there's cost savings associated with the LED?
Yeah, longer life and lower wattage, so lower power.
So dotted up front, but a life cycle cost that you should see through the fruition of your plan.
So have you done any life cycle costs so we understand what that's worth?
I don't think we did any for this project yet, but we can always get back to you on that.
There's tons of research out there. We can flag it for you and bring it right to your seat if you'd like.
Yeah.
And
It's
that was
always
just-
important for an owner to know what his return on investment is at 5 years, 10 years.
And that was just just throwing an idea out there that's not set in stone. That's just a possible idea that we could approach and look at, price out for life cycle and all that, and get back to you, have something concrete.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, no, we do not have a specific number, specific monetary number to give to you as to what it could save you. So.
Absolutely. And after we went through the design, Bradley's our superintendent.
But before we leave design,
Absolutely.
Sure. Sorry to keep bugging you guys here, but tamper-proof receptacles and arc fault requirements for the units. How did you guys address that? Do you have the tamper-proof receptacles covered? That's required by the 2008 NEC.
Actually, we had the arc faults, but it ended up being an AccuBid selection thing again, but the tamper-proof. We checked that last night after we'd already turned in our proposal. And we just thought we had selected the appropriate tamper-proof pallets, and ended up it was our mistake.
But you did have them included?
Yeah,
In the design.
In the design.
In design, they will all be all 120 volt.
Arc fault.
Yeah, well, all 21 volt, all 120 volt receptacles will be tamper-proof. And then everything, as far as arc fault it goes, everything in the unit, with exception to your kitchen and your bathrooms, will be on an AFCI protected circuit breaker.
Yeah, thanks. I always get that confused.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So. Is that all as far as design goes, or?
Probably for now.
For now.
I'm not looking back into what you guys about to do, but it was like we were talking about. Bradley's our superintendent.
Yeah, I'm Bradley Clark. I'm superintendent, and I think my job is going to be just this production management and time management. It's in hand. As we're doing the prefabrication kits, that's going to keep our time on the job site as low as possible to give other trades their room to run about. They, especially mechanical, they get in there and they just take the whole place up. So just doing everything as much as we can off-site is good. It's going to give us the time management and production management so we can make sure everything is exactly the way we want it. And also material management, being able just to know that you have everything in one package. It's going to be delivered on site exactly when you need it. Coordinating with Victor with all of that for sure, and getting all of that right, you keep your quality up, and that kind of jumps into safety. If you're putting all those little bits and pieces together off-site, that keeps stuff off the floor, all the little screws and parts and pieces laying everywhere. It keeps people from just trip hazards and small things like that most people wouldn't think about, but it does make a big difference. And we're going to enforce all OSHA requirements as in every job that we do, and we make sure all our guys are fully trained. We have weekly meetings with our employees, and we kind of go over what you're going to be doing today, and during this week you're going to be putting in high voltage feeders, going to be connected into your service coming in. And we kind of go over all the different aspects of how this is dangerous, whatever you're doing, and kind of just apply that to what job they're doing that week. And this increased productivity and reduced job costs, but just keeping accidents down, guys working safely, and they can be more productive. Just not worrying about getting electrocuted or any other thing. Even cuts on your hands by putting the boxes together on site. It's just little things like that. That just make a big difference.
Who's going to be your point person on the project for safety?
That's me, for sure.
You.
I'm
So if I
going
need
to
to
head all
get
the safety.
a touch of anybody to look at a situation, it's going to be.
I'm your number one guy.
Bradley will be the competent person.
So and in early planning with all the parties, that's just it's just gonna make a big difference. I know I've already touched on that once. And one of my responsibilities is quality inspections. I'm going to inspect everything my guys put in there. I mean everything, and that's the way I've started my career. Was just quality makes a difference. Your company is only good as the last job you did. That it shows a lot. If you quality work, even if you're a little bit slower, just quality makes a big difference. And I've touched on the material procurement, and I'm working with Drew and Bentley, working with our suppliers on the transformers and different equipment that we would need that it takes some procurement time to get in, and also coordinating with our home warehouse and getting which units are going to be put in that day, what feeders are going to be running, and everything, that we get our material there when we need it. And I touched on trade stacking, that we're going to be in there when there's not. We're going to try to work around mechanical and your plumbing and try to get around them. But we're kind of going to work from the outside in. And I have these kind of our crews here and our plans. I've kind of sketched a rough, and I'm kind of old school, basic kind of guy. So if it's in my hands, it's better than on a computer. And so we have crews starting off. We have our heavy heavy-duty wiring guys. They're going to be a crew themselves, and they're going to start with bringing our service in and setting our transformers. And we got a group of guys that are going to be doing basically pulling our MC cable and all our lighting rough in. And they're going to be working across. This is on our basement level. And then after that, they're going to continue on up with the electrical room, this heavy group, and they're going to continue with the lighting and all the receptacles and everything on our first floor, which is, our different storage area. Yeah, yes. Retail area. That's right. And so that crew's going to continue up. And at the beginning of the job, there's going to be less people on site. We're going to have two crews of about 10. They're going to be working, in their little parts until we get the framing worked into the floors with the units. Once we get up with the units, that same crew is going to be there, the heavy crew. We're going to add another crew for the other side of the electrical room for the elevators and everything. And we're going to bring another crew that's going to start the feeders. And then that same crew is going to come up with